Hi guys, today I want to do a book talk for Heir, and if you have missed my Throne of Glass discussion and stuff, I can link it below. But this is book 3 of a series, so I'm really not going to tell you much of what it's about. I don't want to spoil you, so there's really not going to be much of a spoilery section other than I just recommend this series. This is my favorite of the series so far. I love how it's got a bit of a slower pace compared to the super quick, super fast-paced Crown of Midnight. I just love Sarah J. Maas's books and her characters, and I really just connect with them, and this is just one of my favorite fantasy series. It's amazing. That's really all that I know to say without ruining this book for you guys. Just trust me, just read the series. And just please don't keep watching if you have not read it, because there are going to be spoilers. I really mainly just want to talk about Aelin, I'll be honest, and Rowan. I will talk about Manon and briefly talk about Dorian and Chaol, but mainly just Aelin. I'll just briefly say Dorian. I love Dorian. I've loved him from the start. I feel like he has such a good heart, and he has just been dealt a bad hand, and he is a terrible father, and I just really feel for him. And although honestly, in my opinion, I never really cared for his relationship with Sorsha, I still understand that she helped him with his magic and that she got him and really didn't judge him and stuff, so I'm happy he had her. But I feel for him whenever she lost her head, and it was sad. It was really sad. I do feel like Chaol shouldn't have left him, and I was very angry at Chaol for leaving. I feel like Aedion kind of tried to save the day, and he showed such courage and just tried to save Chaol and Dorian, and then I'm happy at the end that Chaol did stand up finally to the king, because I feel like he's been so on the fence and wishy-washy, and I hate that when characters are like that and they don't take a stand up for what they believe in. But anyways, basically, yeah, I'm happy Chaol stood up to the king, but then he ran away and he left Dorian there, and Dorian got that collar put on him, and I just... oh, Dorian doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it, and I am just so terrified for Dorian and what's to come in these future books. I don't really know what's going to happen to Chaol, but at the moment, I'm just kind of... he's just made a lot of mistakes. I still think he's a good person, and I still like Chaol, but at the moment, I'm just irritated with him. So, you know. I did like Manon's chapters. At first, I just thought they were okay because, I really wanted to get to Aelin's chapters, and I wasn't wanting to set through Manon's chapters. But it got more interesting with the Wyvern and with Braxis. That's when I really started liking her chapters. And I loved her 13. I love the loyalty and how tight they are. I'm very afraid, though, again, for the future books and the future of Aelin, because these witches sound terrifying, and they have dragons. So I'm very scared for the moment when they cross paths, but I am also kind of anticipating that. I'm kind of excited when Manon meets Aelin. I feel like they're gonna kind of clash, but I am afraid at the same time. This book was so much slower paced than the other ones, but I think we needed that after everything that happened in The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, and Crown of Midnight, especially the end of Crown of Midnight. It was so fast-paced, and so much information is dumped on you, and so I think we needed that slower pace. The beginning of this book, the end of Crown of Midnight, Nehemia, still don't think I say that name right, she ends up getting murdered. And at the beginning of this book, Selena is just broken. She's broken, and she's off in Wendolyn, and she's just drinking, laying around in her own filth in the sun, until Rowan finds her, and she's definitely lost, and it killed me. But I just seeing her development through this book is what makes me love her so much more and love this book, that she really learns to embrace herself and who she is, and just to go with it and to find her course and the right path for her. Whenever he first meets her, there's that one scene where she's talking and she says, because I'm lost and I do not know the way, and I feel for her. But the part that really gets me is when she's screaming at Rowan and she's talking about Nehemia, saying, because she is dead, she screamed the last word so loudly it burned in her throat, because she is dead and I am left with my worthless life. And this is when we really get to see Celaena just bare, and she's not this arrogant this girl anymore. We really get to see who she is underneath it all and just how bad she's hurting, and it just killed me. I sobbed. This is the second time I've read this book, I should mention. I don't remember what month I read the first book, but it was last year in 2014, and so even the second time reading it, I knew it was coming, but I just sobbed. Celaena has had such a hard life, and literally almost everyone she knows is dead. And most of them haven't even just died. They've been like ripped apart and murdered. So she has gone through so much. And that's why I feel like Rowan and her are such an awesome team. There's one part where she talks about Rowan, and she says something about, in the week she had been looking at him, it had been like gazing at a reflection. No wonder she had loathed him. And then she mentions like they're cut from the same cloth, perfect for one another. I really do think that they are perfect for one another. I love Rowan. I love that they're both these warriors that have lost so much, and you could even argue that they both lost mates. He's lost his mate for sure and his unborn child, but you could even argue that Sam was her mate. And so it's just, I feel like Celaena was the one that really pulled herself up, and she's her own champion now, and she rises as Aelin, but I think Rowan definitely helped her. Their dynamic kind of reminded me of another one of my favorite series, the Vampire Academy series, Dimitri and Rose. Dimitri is this huge, like, strong foreign warrior, and all these tales have been told about him. And then Rose is this, like, cocky girl, and they train together, and before you know it, she's kind of gotten through some of his defenses, and they become a really awesome team, just like these two. So I definitely found a lot of similarities between those two couples, and I love it. I will take the time to say, I am Team Celaena now. I know in the past I've kind of like talked with a lot of you guys and said, oh, I'm Team this, I'm Team this. I still love Celaena though. I really truly am though just Team Celaena. I really truly believe in Sarah J. Maas, and I know wherever she takes this series will be awesome. Whomever Celaena ends up with, and maybe no one at all. She might be alone, who knows. But I would be okay with any scenario. I'm just saying that I really do like her and Rowan together, and that they make a good team as long as they remain at least friends, which I know they will because they're bonded by blood now, and they're Karanim, not sure how to say that word. Kind of reminds me of like being Parabati and the Mortal Instruments world. But anyways, I love those two. It was one of my favorite parts of the entire book is when she releases Rowan from Mauve's blood oath, and I just wanted to cry happy tears and how happy he was, and when he runs to her and like kisses her brow, and just these happy feelings. I feel like he's gone through a lot too. If we think Aelin has gone through a lot, he has gone through a lot, and for 300 years. He was really hard on her, but I think she needed that. I think she needed that extra push, and I'm just so proud at how far she has come. She is so strong and amazing when she learns to finally shift, which the first time it happened was pretty interesting when I don't remember if she was like mouthing off to him and he grabbed her tongue and then literally bit her. And she shifted because she's like, I'm not going to be this weakling thing. I'm going to tear you apart, and like roars. And it was awesome. It was so awesome. Later he said something like, that won't happen again. I won't bite you again. You don't bite the women of other males. And I just remember thinking, like, is this a common thing? You guys biting one another? Like, I guess it is sort of a fae thing. They're like predators, like all that primitive stuff. But I still love them. I think it's awesome. I was really happy when she was in her fae form. I don't know if it's just, I do. I love the fae, and I love everything to do with that. So although I love just Celaena as a human, I think Aelin as her fae self is just epic and awesome. Back to the Chaol thing a little bit. there was the part where he said he'd known since the moment he figured out who she was that while Celaena would always pick him, Aelin would not. I do agree with that, because I used to love them together in Crown of Midnight and when she was human, and that's the part, like, she needed Chaol to help her after Endovir and everything that happened, but she really can't forgive him anymore because he's kind of drawn the line in the sand. He's chosen the king. He knows who he serves, and he's chosen the king over Celaena, and that's something that she just really can't forgive him for. She knows now that he's not 100% like the cause of Nehemia's death. She knows that, but it still doesn't really change anything because now he still is serving the king and everything, even though, you know, now currently at the end he isn't. So that's, yeah, we'll see where that takes him in Queen of Shadows. Aelin said all she knew was that whatever and whoever climbed out of that abyss of despair and grief would not be the same person who had plummeted in. And I loved this whole book of her rebuilding herself and just becoming who she's supposed to be, I guess. I did think it was hard to read through Rowan's eyes, kind of like how he saw her, because, you know, we know who she is and what she's been through, but he didn't. And Mob didn't tell him that she used to be an Endovir and she was a slave. And so, like, the moment when he threatens to whip her, oh, it was just terrible. But I loved seeing bit by bit how he did get to know her better, and he got to kind of see who we know her as. The part when she burns out and he cares enough that he carried her even though she was literally burning him. And that part was really scary, and they kept like submerging her in water and she would like boil it and they'd have to take her out, and it was just a really long ordeal. But he saw her back, and I like that he doesn't pity her. I like that he doesn't judge her. I think that's why they're also such a great team, because he's done a lot of bad stuff in his life too. And so I like that he understands her, and I like that he stayed with her, and I thought it was so sweet how he like fussed over her, and he like picked her up and took her to his room, and he's like, you're staying with me now. And I like how he told her that she was gonna like sleep on the couch and stuff, or the cot or whatever, but that never was brought up again. Like, they ended up falling asleep, and there was nothing like romantic about it. They were just these friends, and he was taking care of her, and it was just still really sweet, and they like held hands. And I remember the part where she said she yawned and Rowan rubbed his eyes, his other hand still in hers, but he didn't let go. And when she awoke before dawn, warm and safe and rested, Rowan was still holding her hand clasped to his chest. Something molten rushed through her, pouring over every crack and fracture, still left gaping and open. Not to her or Mar, but to wield, to forge. So that right there is an example how he has kind of helped her. He's kept her safe, and that's what she needed. And I love them together. Obviously, there's terrible parts when Rowan is really mean to her, and she goes into the kitchen, and Emery's, I think was his name, you know, he talks to Rowan like, what are you doing to that girl? What do you do to her that causes her to have such emptiness in her eyes? And, you know, what do you see when you look at her? And Rowan at that point was just like, I don't know. I have no idea. And he was so confused about everything. I think he just was afraid of letting her in. And he had this like idea of this spoiled little princess before. But now he's starting to see how she puts others before herself, and like with the ice, with the pond and everything, like how he was starting to figure her out, and how she doesn't want any more deaths on her hands of her. She doesn't want any more loved ones to die. It's sad though how in this book still she really does put everyone before her own life. So like when she lies to him and goes out to the vowed princes and had no plans on saving her own life, just trying to save theirs. That was really heartbreaking, but she's so incredible. Like when she takes them down and with her flames, and she's so awesome. Like she's just the coolest. But when they find out that they are Karanim, it was epic and it was awesome. And I didn't like, I'm trying to remember back the first time I read this. I think I did think about it, like, oh, what if they are? But I had kind of forgotten about it. So by the time it actually happened, like 500 pages into the story, then I was shocked and like super pleased and just awed at the fact that, you know, because they said it was such a rare thing for it to happen. And so I love that, of course. And it's really gonna really help them out, I feel like, in the future with battles and stuff. If one of them, I don't know if they had to touch though. I don't know if now that they are linked, if they can just like send their powers to one another, or if they're gonna have to like meet on the battlefield and like touch like blood to blood, kind of like they did in this book. I don't know, but it's still really cool and scary, because they're both really powerful, so together they're just gonna like burn this world down, I'm pretty sure. But I love how she says, you know, I claim you, Rowan Whitethorn. I don't care what you say and how much you protest. I claim you as my friend. And I love that it took him like the entire book, but that he said he claimed her too. And I love the whole like to whatever end. And the part, it says blood to blood, soul to soul, to whatever end. At least if you're going through hell, then we'll be there together. And oh, they're such a good team. They're so good for each other, I think. I truly believe that. I'm so excited for Rowan to eventually go to Darlin and meet all of her other friends. And that's, I'm just excited about it. But I'm afraid that we're not going to like see him that much in Queen of Shadows, so I was really afraid about that. I was afraid that we would just get a few random chapters here and there of him left in Wendelin and then her in Adarlan. So I am not that excited about that. But the word key, oh my gosh. So yeah, that was crazy. And then to think that it all circles back to her original master, Arobin. And I've wanted him dead for so long, so I'm hoping in Queen of Shadows that's when she takes her revenge for Sam. She avenges Sam and then gets the third word key. I never remember it being confirmed that the king had the other two. I knew he had one, and I know that at one point they had said he probably had the second, but I never remember it getting like confirmed, so I don't know. But again, I'm just so excited in this book how far she has come and how she left Adarlan as Selena and now she would return as Aelin. And I just love her and just, oh, it's going to be hard though because she's not going to have magic again and that's going to be just difficult with everything she's learned. I love though that she's kind of just embraced it and it's not a whole new thing. She just kind of included it with what she already knows, like so with her shield and like with her sword of like fire, and she'll kick and kind of send flames and just so epic. But yeah, so it's gonna be really scary to see her go back to Darlin, and I don't know what's gonna happen with the king. I don't know if her time's already been up and he's expecting like their heads for her mission. I don't know what's gonna happen with all that stuff, but yeah, I am just, you know, we'll just see. But I do like how she says it would not take a monster to destroy a monster, but light to drive out darkness. So I'm so ready for Aelin to kick some butt in the next book, and I'm just excited for them all to meet. And not so much Manon and everyone else. I'm scared. I'm scared of Manon meeting them. But everyone else, I'm excited for them to meet. Aedion! I didn't even mention Aedion. Oh, totally forgot. Hold on. Hold the phone. So I really like his character. I did guess that he wasn't as they said in the beginning. I'm so happy that she has like a childhood friend that we hadn't heard about, and at the end when he sacrifices himself for his queen's captain, it was so hard to read about. But what killed me was that they've like been missing each other all these years, and that now he was so close to seeing her again because she's returning to Darlin, and now's the time he gets captured. Now's the time he's gonna get executed, I'm sure, and it's just frustrating, and I just wanted them to meet. I just wanted them to see each other so bad, and I know that they're gonna be so happy to see each other, and I know they're both afraid of what the other person will think, but I know it's gonna be all okay, and I just really want them to meet, and I just, Anyways, I've talked too much, so I'm gonna go. You should talk to me in the comments about Heir of Fire, and I want to discuss it with you because this is my favorite book of the series, like I said. I just love everything about it, and I know I've left out some stuff, but I cannot make this book talk like an hour. So that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed this. Let's discuss in the comments, and my Queen of Shadows review will be up really, really soon. Bye!